I'm already reading his book and into it. His relationship advice, you guys, is one of the most well-known slogans of all time. We've all heard the saying, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Now the author has written a follow-up book to his international bestseller called Beyond Mars and Venus. So please welcome to the show, Dr. John Gray.
Yes. Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you. We've been literally since our meeting this morning, we've been trying to find out more about you and your advice. So let's get to it.
That was you.
Yeah, that was me. I just want to be better. Okay, so you've studied relationships for more than 30 years. What is a man's greatest vulnerability and what is a woman's?
A man's greatest vulnerability has to do with his hormones and a woman's her hormones. So what does that mean? Is that when men feel successful, testosterone goes up. When testosterone is down, men are depressed. For women, hormone estrogen, when estrogen goes down, women are depressed. And the quality of relationship where she feels safe and she can trust increases estrogen. So a woman's vulnerability is needing to trust her environment and feeling safe. A man is to feel successful. Wow. So practically speaking, when you say things to a man like good idea or that makes sense, or his testosterone goes up, his team goes up. And for a woman, it goes up as well. But testosterone going up doesn't lower her stress level. It's estrogen that lowers her stress level. So when you listen to a woman, when you validate a woman, when you show interest in a woman, her estrogen goes up, her stress goes down. That's called treating somebody with respect.
You better come through, Doc, with that safety and trust. Yeah. Let them know. Let them know. Okay, so you say men and women can unknowingly sabotage their relationships. How do we do this?
Well, one of the key things that the mistake men make, common mistake, is when women are talking, we think they're done. And we interrupt them with the bottom line. So what you're saying is, we think that's really helpful, but often she needs to feel you listen is a message that says you're important, you're included, you're valued, and I'm there for you. See, if you just say to a man, what a great idea, and ignore him, he feels like, okay, I won the game. He doesn't realize a woman's sensitivities are different from a man's sensitivities many times. Sometimes she says, let's get to the point. Because women have a male side and they have a female side. Women have estrogen and women have testosterone. The difference between men and women, which it's absurd that you ask somebody highly intelligent, how do you define a woman? And they can't. I have 50 books, 20 books to define the differences between men and women. It's very, very important if you want a loving relationship to know how to motivate your partner if you're a woman. And you'll do that. See, women have this idea that when men start out in a relationship, they're so motivated, right? They're so there for you. But once you're in a committed relationship, the research shows their testosterone drops.
Doctor, how long have you been researching? So how long have you been researching this very biological conversation?
40 years, 40 years.
So it is appropriate for us to have you on our show to talk about the discernments between a man and a woman, as opposed to someone being sworn into the Supreme Court like Judge Jackson.
I think we all know the difference between men and women. I won't. I'll stand on that.
Yeah,
it's a simple
She's not a
thing.
biologist, though, Doc. Not a biologist.
Well, I do have my books, and over 50 million people have read it. Maybe she should try reading it.
Oh, okay. Ooh. I'm sure that would likely be a secondary thing for her at this moment.
I'm not criticizing her. I'm criticizing the thinking that says we can't understand the difference between a man and a woman. And that's the problem today, is we have become so alike. And we are more alike. That's okay. It's just that we still have these differences. Women have a male side and a female side, just like a man. So it's hard to talk about the differences. I understand that. But when it comes to relationships, divorce is higher than it's ever been. Twice as many people are single. Depression levels are higher than ever. Sleeplessness, over 80% of women are taking sleeping pills to sleep because their estrogen levels are low. And a few good relationship skills from a man can help her if he understands this knowledge. This is very important information.
So I think this is all very important information. I just don't want us to compare apples and oranges. I think it's very important because we know you alluded to Dr. Jackson, who was being sworn in and all of that. And trans rights and trans issues are very important. I can only speak for myself, to me. So let's just not go there, because Those are human lives, and that's not why we have you on the show. We have you on the show specifically to talk about marriages between heteronormative couples, okay? So let's talk about just that, because that's
my expertise. Happy to do it.
Okay, great. So let's, what does the booth want me to do? Because I'm not sure where we are in time now. Okay, so tell us more about your new book.
Well, when we start looking at the massive amount of information today about people's unhappiness, we see in marriage, we see that it has to do with an imbalance in their healthy state of hormones. And there's so many ways in our relationships that we can help our partner to balance their hormones. And most people never knew this. For example, one of the misinterpretations of men, as I was just mentioning before, is women assume that a man who is so motivated in the beginning is going to stay motivated. It doesn't happen that way, but there's ways to keep him motivated. And for a woman, a man assumes this beautiful woman he married is going to be happy all the time. And he doesn't realize that women are not happy all the time. Human beings are not happy all the time. And then we go like in waves. We go up and we go down. A healthy person has their ups and their downs, but they're not extreme. Men have a different cycle to a great extent, which has to do with testosterone. They tend to be very motivated, and then they back off and they have to do impersonal things. I call that the cave time. He wants to spend time with her, and then he needs to feel time where he's very independent on his own, and then he comes back. And why does he need that independent time? Because that builds testosterone. Why does she need to talk more if she's on her female side? Is it because that helps her to produce estrogen? 90% of the people who come to therapists, which primarily you're just talking, right, are women, because women get a huge value out of talking personally.
We're out of time. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for your advice, for the book. I just want to make a correction. I misspoke and said Dr. Jackson. Of course, I was referring to Ketanji Brown Jackson, the judge. I was looking at Dr. Al Jackson over here. But thank you so much. And for all of you out there who are a fan of John's first book, you got to get his new book, Beyond Mars and Venus, or visit his website, marsvenus.com. Thank you, John. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.